Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Won't be before you long because I think it's thunder and lightning going on. And as my grandma used to say, when the Lord working, you don't work. So I ain't gonna be before you long, but I didn't get to shoot my video today. Been working all day. And I got a question today from a lady who is a widow saying, what do you do when you are a widow and you're starting over, you're dating all over again? And I have several clients who are widows. So I've been able to walk behind the scenes and kind of see what life is like. Then also being a man, I understand that as men, we are far from perfect. So when we leave this earth, we didn't leave a perfect record or a perfect resume, although we are good people at heart. But what you have to realize is if you are a widow or even a widower, if this is, a man watching this, what you have to realize is if you were in a relationship for a long period of time, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, and you were faithful, meaning you didn't have a full-fledged relationship with somebody else, you weren't dating around because you were married. When you come back into the scene, and this could also apply to someone who you were in a long-term relationship and now you've moved on. But it's not the exact same thing. Even though your ex may be dead to you, figuratively speaking, it's not the same thing as literally losing someone. So what you have to realize is you are starting over and you're coming back into a world where things have changed. So, although people are still people, we change based on our surroundings, based on what's going on in the world. So, you could imagine the generation that's coming next, if they are raised by reality TV or they're raised by YouTube, they're gonna be different. And so, if you come back into the dating world, and it's single people that you're talking to and they've been single for 5 years, 10 years, or maybe they were dating around but they weren't married, they have more experience than you. They've seen some things, they've done some things, they got some new lingo, they got a couple new tricks up their sleeve, a couple new games. So there's some work that has to be done if you are a widow, if your spouse, and even if you weren't married, if your partner has passed away, it's some work that has to be done. First, you need to have some closure in your spirit, meaning you have to understand that the way the brain works, when we experience something or someone, over time, the brain is self-soothing where you may feel the pain, you may experience the pain, but we typically remember things better than they actually were. And that's just a mechanism to help us cope with life. So when you look back over some things, it's kind of like, I'll relate it to getting a tattoo. If you've ever got a tattoo, in that moment it's painful, but it only stings for the rest of the day. Then it's a little tender for the next couple days. But a month later, you almost can't remember the pain. And that's why you see people with tattoos go get number 2 and number 3 and number 4, and some people get up to number 100. So the same thing happens in our life. We feel something. It's like a woman who gets her eyebrows microbladed. After that first eyebrow, she ready to get up and walk out. She ready to be done. She's like, I'm just gonna get one eyebrow microbladed. I changed my mind. Or some people who getting a tattoo and they want to get love. They get that L and that O. You know what? I'm feeling like the Lord's just telling me just go with low because I just need to lay low. So I don't even want to get the V and the E right now. It's in that moment when you feel pain, it hurts and you want to give up. It probably was a lot of times in your relationship that you were ready to throw in the towel. You were ready to give up. You were ready to say, what am I doing? It probably was time that you broke up and you had to break up to make up. So what you first have to do is you got to look back over that relationship and you have to evaluate it and you got to learn some things about it. You got to see, I've had people say, look, when I look back over this relationship, I could see my flaws, but I also could see my partner's flaws and I can realize what I was dealing with and what I was going through. And now that I've done this and I realize that, oh, that was toxic or that wasn't healthy or that was abuse or that was narcissism or what have you. Now I'm able to move forward and not compare other people to the fantasy or the imaginary person that I have in my mind. Because see, a lot of times when we lose people, we don't, and this is friend, family member, or what have you, when you lose someone, you want to remember them in a good light if you can. You want to remember the good about them, not the bad about them. You want to have a good memory. So I remember I've coached individuals where they lost someone rather quickly. Like they met someone, were with them seriously, and the person passed away to a terminal illness, natural causes. And sometimes after a situation like that, you may say, this was the greatest person in my life. This was the greatest person ever. I'll never meet anyone like him or her. And it's really because they knew they had a terminal illness. And when they see the end of the road, they're trying to right their wrongs. They're trying to be the absolute best person they can be if they have the wherewithal to do so. Sometimes people lose certain functions of their brain, and it changes their personality when they're on their way out. But if a person has complete function of their brain, no sane person wants to, ruin relationships and break hearts when they're getting ready to transition from this life. So it would be unwise to compare someone's personality and how amazing they treated you to someone who is not in that same situation. It's not saying let a person who doesn't see the end of the road be ruthless and cheat on you and dog you out. It's just understand the circumstance and situation and realize that you can't compare apples to oranges. You can't say, well, I want someone to be just like this person or better based on how they treated me in their last 3 months of living. Or if it's the other way around and your spouse passed away and it wasn't the greatest, you still have to come to a place of healing so that you can forgive. Because see, some people leave this earth and they damaged you, they hurt you, and they never said sorry. They never tried to right their wrongs. And if you have that scar, if you have that wound in your heart, then you can take that and be pessimistic in your dating life. You can be rude or condescending. Or if you're playing that over in your mind and you're playing that over and over, you can adopt their negative traits and carry that with you. And now the way they made you feel, you make other people feel that way. The way they talk down to you and belittle you, you do the same to people you deal with. Or it can be the reverse. You could be so hurt from everything that went on that you're too wide open and you're too vulnerable and you're too gullible, you're too naive, and you go out and you get taken advantage of. So in this space, you really have to, for one, you should be in coaching with a relationship coach to understand the relationship aspect. Then you also can work with a grief counselor to deal with the grief aspect. But to analyze the relationship and really be able to pinpoint what it is you experienced, then you need to work with a relationship coach who can say, okay, well, this is what this was, and what do you think about this? And you can work through that. So after you come to that space, and you should never be in a rush. So if that's 6 months, if that's 12 months, if it's 2 months, some people, you may be 6 months or 12 months, you ready. Some people, it may be 2 months and you feel like you're ready. And it could be because the relationship had kind of flattened out or began to dissolve as the person was getting ready to transition from this life. The relationship had been over for 6 months or a year or 2 years, even though on paper you were still married. So as you see here, there's many caveats and nuances to this, because you could have lost someone who you were just with for 3 months, a year, 5 years. You could have lost someone that you absolutely loved and you were with them for more than a decade. Someone that you were dealing with and tolerating and you were with them more than a decade. Someone that you had breakup to makeup situations with over and over. So it's a lot that goes into it, but the principles still remain. The principle is you have to get some sort of closure after the person has left the earth and before you move on. And that closure has to come in different forms, meaning for the relationship and then for your heart. And you have to give yourself time to heal, but to heal purely, to heal individually, independently, meaning don't use other people and call it healing, meaning don't go sleep around, don't go date around and call it healing, but really it's you're running. You're trying to escape the thoughts and escape the pain and escape the lessons and escape the personal confrontation that you have to have with this situation. Now, some of this will apply to you if you just say that person is dead to me, meaning your ex. Some of this same stuff applies, but I'm talking in the literal sense. Now, the next thing that you need to do is you have to now catch up to date. You got to get the new software download, meaning you have to see if anything has changed. Nothing may have changed or everything may have changed, but you got to see what is new. So you want to take and say, okay, when I was, with my ex and we were together for 30, 40 years, back then, you waited until marriage. Back then, if you met a man, he had to come talk to your next of kin, your mother, your father, your brother, if he wanted to take you on a date. Back then, the man picked you up, opened the door, paid for the date, closed the door, pulled out the chair, drove you home, walked you to your door, kissed you on the forehead, sat outside for a few minutes until you flick the light 2 times, let them know you're in the room, still safe, whatever it may be. I'm not speaking, literally here, but you have to look at the way that you were courted, the way you dated, and then today see what people are doing. Because it may be a situation where a lot of women today are saying, hey, I'll pay my half. And that could be because of this new breed of men feeling like that they get to dominate or control or get a favor from the woman because he paid for the date. So a lot of women may be opting to say, I don't want you to expect anything from me. I don't want you to feel like you did anything from me. I don't want you to feel like I'm using you for a meal. I'll offer to pay my half. And then the guy may say, no, I got it. It's cool. And then you say, okay, thank you. So that may be a new nuance in the dating scene today. So what you want to do is take the time to watch the videos, watch the Q&As, read the dating books, do a couple sessions with a relationship coach, and talk about the current dating trends and what's going on, and get that knowledge. And then after you get that knowledge, now you start to do the work. So you gotta catch up. When you did not need to look a certain way or do anything because you were in a relationship. So it's like right now, I'm in a relationship, going on 14 years of marriage. Since I met my wife, I've gained 30 pounds. Now, I ain't fully all the way gone now. These short too short. I ain't fully all the way gone now. You see what I mean? I ain't just let myself completely go. But if I had to go be single, and I'm walking around and these men out here, all these muscle and all this here, I got to go to the gym because of what the competition looking like. I got to catch up. If I still wearing my unibrow cause my spouse loved it, I got to get my little whites and get that unibrow. Okay, if I'm still wearing that 1980 hairstyle. Me and my wife were watching the news today, and the lady on the news had the fan. She had you remember the hairdo, what the lady used to have, and it's like a little fan. It's about this wide, and it's like this, and it's come up like a little waterfall and come back. My wife was like, wow, she's still wearing the fan. She early 90s or something. I don't know when it's from, but it just was a hairstyle that used to be really in. I remember my mama used to wear it probably in the 90s. I ain't seen her wear it since then, but the lady, she, looked like she was in her late 50s, early 60s, but took care of herself, had a bunch of jewelry on, had a little tan on her face, had a face full of makeup, like she had two makeup artists getting her right. I mean, she looked like she was ready for her day in the sun on the news, because they were talking to her on the news. But again, now imagine she went to the dating world, and let's say if she was single, and let's say if she was getting back into the dating world after her husband transitioned from this life, but the men that she dating, they used to all the women having a up-to-date hairstyle. It's a new day, it's new hairstyles out there, and they used to that. And then she come with the 1995 hairstyle, and he like, oh, I ain't seen that in a while. And she might just ain't nobody tell her, because she been off the market. She ain't been have to be courted or be in position to be approached by a man. So she kept her hairstyle because that's what her husband liked, and he didn't want her to change it, and so she just kept it for him. That's what he liked. But when you come back into the dating world, you got to assess some things. You got to see, make sure your heart is ready, because you don't want to just step out there and you haven't done the work. Because what you don't want to do is be out there and you on the date and you just, y'all eating, and then the next thing you know, he just was such a good man. He was so good. And then you go and you crying and you on the date, and the person you talking to, they're like, um, I really don't know what to say here. I'm so sorry for your loss. It's just that's tough. I honestly, I've lost my appetite because I'm just so hurt for you. Do you need a hug? You don't want to be on that type of situation to where the person who approached you because they liked your glow is now having to be your therapist or your life coach because you didn't do the work and you didn't get the closure. So take this time and really gather yourself and, cry as long as you need to cry. Write a book about it, write a blog about it, do a 31-day affirmations book on it, 31-day devotional book on it to encourage yourself, but publish it and encourage other widows or widowers so that it serves a greater purpose. Like, do the work and take your time and don't feel rushed. And then when you get back out there, you see, okay, I chilled out. I was in this relationship. I put on happy weight, and although I'm still happy, I want to get in a little bit better shape. I want to lose me 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, whatever it may be. You set your goal and you say, look, I've been in a relationship 18 years. And in that relationship, I got comfortable. I got complacent 25 years. So I wasn't doing all the stuff that I would be doing if I had to be single and on the market. So let me tap in and focus. And I know, Johnny or Sally would want me to be happy and would want me to work on myself. And then now some people will have someone who has passed away who, when you think about that person, you picture them rolling over in their grave if you date somebody else. And that's something that you have to confront. That's something that you have to deal with, and you got to come to terms to make sure whatever hold it is, whatever hold that is on your life, because you got a soul tie. You got a soul tie. And you have to identify and make sure that the hold on you is positive and not negative. That is positive, that you feel loved and you feel that your late spouse would want you to be happy. And you move forward with that feeling. And if it's negative, then you have to do more work. If you feel trapped and you feel stuck and you just feel like this black cloud is over your head and it just keeps raining on you every day, then you got to do more work. And so when you get out into the dating world, the next thing you have to realize is you can't, and I'm just flowing right now, I don't have none of this written down, I'm just flowing, I'm just going in order. What you have to realize is that you can't compare everyone to your ex that has passed away, because your memory of them will be heightened to a certain degree. Either it's going to be worse than it was, or it can be better than it was, but it's still unfair to compare your future to your past, to compare the next to your ex. And if they pass away, it's not really your ex, but unless y'all had broke up, but still your past. It would be unfair because you have this permanent, you may have, depending on your relationship, this permanent endearing love. God forbid anything ever happen, to my wife. Personally, I would never marry again. I would never date again. I would literally be like Apostle Paul. I mean that with everything in me. And I know it's probably people who are widows who said the same thing, or widowers when their partner was alive said the same thing, and now may be in a space to where they say, well, I'm ready to date again. And I talked to a gentleman not long ago who his wife passed away, and he took years, I think more than 5 years before, and still is not dating publicly, but very coveted by women, desired by women. Women want to, you know, be his woman. But his wife passed away and he has not publicly announced a girlfriend. And I get it. And so if you still feel like you're in that space, just stay there. Just stay there. Keep learning, keep growing. You know, build your business, build your brand, write your book, start your new companies, your other companies. If you already got one or two, just invest in you and just stay there. But when you go out there, you can't go out there and say, well, you know, Johnny or Mark or Bobby or Don used to do this. You know, he used to do this and he would always say this. And, you know, I don't know. This is a good man, but he just does not flip his eggs at the same time that Don used to flip his eggs. And it's just killing me because those eggs were amazing. And I just cannot get over it. Whatever it may be, you cannot be in that situation to where you are comparing. And when you are comparing, that's a sign. Just take your time. Just pause. Just gather yourself and just spend that time and enjoy those memories. Enjoy those memories. Enjoy that love. Enjoy those feelings. I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you, me personally, after, you know, I would never date again. I'm trying to tell I'll be walking around everywhere you see me. I have a Bible. I have a Bible. You want to talk to me? Excuse me. Did you say hello? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Proverbs 31. Here you go. Can you read Proverbs 31 to me real quick before you speak to me again? I'm trying to tell you, I'll be Apostle Paul. And so understand this. If you don't feel called to dating, if you don't feel like it's just really, really right, like you really ready, like you really need to be back out there, like you know, your relationship was not good and it was toxic and you just hung on and you just hung in there because they needed you, and now you ready to get back out there, or feeling like, you know, he or she would want you to move on and to continue to live your life. If you don't have that feeling like you need to be out there dating, then just work on you. Remain single and keep doing the work on you. And here's the thing. When you are dating, you're not comparing, but also you're not making this person your Band-Aid. You're not making this person that you're dating your therapist, because he or she may feel a little sorry for you, but not enough to counsel you about your spouse who passed away or your lover who passed away. They don't feel that sorry for you. And the reason why I say that is because humans are not wired like that. Humans can feel empathy and sympathy. But when it comes to love, and when it comes to the heart, and when it comes to a relationship, humans will actually expect you to be healed and to be past that relationship. And whether that is right or wrong, that is the truth of the matter. So you have some people who will be mature enough that they will, you know, go to the gravesite on the anniversary of the passing of your past lover or spouse, and on their birthday, or they may allow you to go and not mention it in a negative way, but that person will be very few and far in between. And so it's a lot of work that has to be done, because you also have to figure out those things. You have to figure out, okay, at what point do I bring up is it the 3 month mark? 3 month mark, when things are getting serious, 3 months, 6 months. At what point do I bring up that I still love my former partner who has passed away, and I would like to honor their birthday and the date of passing. Those 2 days I would like to go place flowers on their grave. So at what point do I ask, is that okay? And you would like to hope that you can meet a mature person that can understand that and be okay and not see that as a threat. But you may be surprised at how many people you have to walk away from because they see your deceased, past husband or wife as a threat. And they like, oh, you're still in love. So let me get this. So let me get this right. And you're gonna hear this now. It might be in a different accent, different voice, but I'm gonna use the proper one. So let me get this right. So, because I'm kind of confused. So you want to go to his grave to place flowers? Like, do you want me to go as well? Okay. So I don't have to go? Okay. But let me ask you another question, just a little deeper. So when you and I are, are you picturing him and feeling him and not me? Because that would creep me out. You see what I'm saying? So you have to confront, see, it's different things which humans think about that anyways with living exes. So you're going to have people that bring that up, and somebody in the comments may have experienced something like this. Somebody they dated being jealous and insecure and always bringing up and comparing themselves to the deceased husband or wife and feeling jealous and insecure, inadequate. And I coach widows and widowers, so I kind of get to go behind the scenes and hear about these experiences, but that's real. And so that's something else that is going to add to the dating. Is like, because you have sometimes when people are still living, you have to work out a blended family, or you have to work out, my ex wants to take our son to see Italy and wants me to come because wants our son to experience that with both of his parents. And then the new, boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, like, huh? Hold on, what in the Will Smith is this? Like, he got money. They could do stuff like that, because I remember hearing about that, Will Smith went on vacation with his oldest son and his mom, and that he said how much he still love her and all of that. And that's like, it's like, cool. Well, everybody might not have that level of understanding or whatever that may be called. So you're going to have to go through situations to where the dating will take someone a little more mature that you're dating so that they can be confident in who they are. Because see, we all know that if there was love for someone and then that person passed away, we all know that humans take that love and try their best to hold on to the good and hold on to the good memories to make life going forward a little bit more easy. And just, we always see people, point up to the sky, or, just pay tribute, may get a tattoo, may, just do something, put it on the back of their car window. You see on people car windows and it's saying loving memory. Like, we try to, memorialize that person. And so when you go to date, it's going to be different when the person you're dating sees that you've lost someone that you were married to or in a serious relationship with, committed relationship with, because they know that that feeling could be different than if your ex was just a complete dog and still living and out here just still being a dog or rude and nasty. That's gonna be a different situation. So you have to realize that this will take patience. It'll take some knowledge and some wisdom and some understanding. It will take you talking to professionals and getting outside input, feedback, and opinions. And it will take you being, using discernment when you are dating. It also will require emotional intelligence so that if you on your exes, I don't know the proper term to use here because not really your ex, but on your former partner's, your late partner's birthday, you may be emotional. On the date that they left this earth, you may be emotional. So when I say emotional intelligence, it's, do you cry or sit in silence in the presence of the person you're dating? Or do you call your grief counselor? And that's something that you have to, say, okay, I want to wait until I meet someone that they could know that I'm struggling, that I'm going through. And I remember in another light of this, another way, but I remember talking to a gentleman who lost his mother, and then he got in a relationship and he got married, and that his wife, has a child. They have a child, and on Mother's Day, he is hurting because he lost his mother. And he's hurting, but yet his wife wants him to be over it to celebrate her because she's a mother. And can you do both? Like, can you, go to her, gravesite, leave some flowers, but then after that, like, perk up, put a smile on it so that I can enjoy my day as a mother. And so that's what I mean. And the way the world works, you could end up falling in love with someone who their birthday is the date of your former lover's birthday or passing day, or the day that they were diagnosed, or the day that the incident happened, or it could be something like that happens, and that has happened. Or the person you fall for has the same birthday, or the same first name, or the same middle name, or the same initials. So this will take you literally have to go through in your work with your coach. Or now, see, I don't know if your coach gonna think like this and gonna go through all of this here, or your therapist. Now, this is where my mind will go. And if we're working together, we're going to go through this. Because once you see it in your mind, then you know how to handle it. But you want to go through, okay, what if the guy you meet has the same name as your husband who passed away? What if he has the same birthday? And then you articulate, what would you do? How would you handle that? You see it in your mind. You come up with your answer so that when it happens, you already have decided how you're going to handle this in an emotionally intelligent way. If they have the same birthday, if this man's birthday is the same day as the day your husband passed away, How do you handle that? Do you mention it? Because once you mention it, this man who may like you will never see his birthday the same. So is it something that he needs to know? If that's the case, what if they have the same middle name or the same initials? Do you let it lie where it is lying and leave it behind you? Or do you bring it with you into the present and on into the future as a part of you? And that is a personal decision, because there are people who will be mature enough to understand and be okay. And some people will even be as positive or as lighthearted to say, well, I guess I'm his or her spirit kin, and they chose me to love you and to ride you into the sunset. I was sent to you by them. They're sitting high, looking low, and they sent me. Some people may be that, lighthearted or what have you, and you may be creeped out, or you may have your little smile, or you may think it's divine, or depends on the personality. I deal with all kind of personalities, so it's all different kind of ways people can take these cosmic collisions, these, interactions. But this is stuff that you have to work through. This is stuff that you got to think about and that you have to process so that you can place your emotions where they need to be placed after having processed them and dealt with them. You don't sweep it under the rug. You don't pretend it never happened. But you will have to make a decision to say, well, do I talk to the person that's courting me or that I'm courting about my past relationship that ended in my husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend passing away? Or do I keep all things related to him or her in the sessions with my professional, and I allow this person to have a clean slate and to feel like the world is theirs, his or hers? That is something that you have to decide. And if you feel so strongly, and if you feel like the person that I meet has to understand that on his birthday or the day of his passing, I'm going to cry, I'm going to be emotional, I'm going to be silent, I'm going to the grave site, I'm placing flowers, I want him or her to go with me, I want support, I want hugs, I want forehead kisses, and that is what I need, and that's what I expect. If that's how you feel, now you really have to really think about that. And I could say put the shoe on the other foot, but the way you see it is going to be different because you have experienced it. So you may say, well, if someone needed me to be there for them because they lost their wife or their husband, and they needed me to be there for them, to hug them, to kiss them on the forehead, to go to the grave site, to place the flowers, I would do that. I would be understanding of that. You can say that because you have lost someone that you loved. But if you've never experienced, if a person has never experienced that, they may not fully be able to wrap their mind around it or to get their heart to that place, because it may make them feel inadequate. It may make them feel like they will never be good enough, or they will never live up to the lofty memories or the high standard that you are holding on to from that past relationship. And so that is where things get a little complicated. And that's where each individual has to sit down with his or her support group, whether it's a best friend who is a professional or knowledgeable or just a lot of wisdom in life, and or a therapist and or a coach. You may need to kind of have a board to where you talk to a friend about it, get that wisdom, talk to a family member, get that wisdom, talk to another widow or widower who has experienced what you've experienced. Read a book from someone who lost someone that they were in a relationship or marriage with. Read their book, see their perspective, talk to the professional, and then you put it all together and you get centered with where your heart is at and what you feel. So hey, this is unique video because it's not the masses situation, but I've seen this question enough. I want to touch on it. As you know, please don't, feel like or think that I'm making light in any way of this situation as I'm going through scenarios and stuff. Different people have different personalities, so some people are easily offended, some people laugh and cry at the same time. So please forgive me if anything came off the wrong way. I don't really like touching on death, and it's hard to talk about, but I keep getting the question, so I want to try to talk about it to a certain degree, and understanding that I'm just the professional that is on the phone listening and helping individuals come up with their plan, their way forward, and doing the work, whatever that may be, writing their book, starting their company, investing in themselves. So understand that and realize that everybody's work may look a little different, and everybody has to do their own work. And none of this from me is saying do this, do that, or you can't do this, you can't do that. It's all a personal decision. It's all a personal decision, and you have your own timeline. So take your time. Don't rush it. Don't feel like you have to compromise and say and never mention the name or the existence. I'm not saying that at all. Don't feel like that. Some people may expect that you date, may expect you to act like that, but you don't have to do that if that's not what you want to do. If you can't leave it where it is and you want to have that memory and mention the name and hold up that standard and compare other people to it, that is a personal choice. And you also have to have the mindset of, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and come what may, good or bad, this is what it is. Or I'm going to leave it there and I'm moving forward, and I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to let him or her rest in peace. And I'm not going to drag their name into new relationships and use them as examples, and I'm going to let them rest in peace, and I'm going to move forward in my life, remembering them always in my heart, but not asking the person I'm dating or falling in love with to carry my burden or to try to feel my pain. I'm going to allow them to have their love for me and allow them to feel that it is exclusive to them. That's the flip side of that choice. And every human has the right to make their own choice based on what they're feeling. And no one can tell you what you feel, and no one can say, I understand what you feel, even if they have lost a husband or a wife, because their relationship is still different than your relationship. So they didn't experience the exact same feelings that you experienced. So no one can truly, fully understand you and what you feel. So no one can truly blame you for whatever decision that you make. But what you have to do as a person is own up to your heart and your decisions and confront yourself and be willing to accept what comes with your decision on how you're going to move forward. So, maybe listen to this twice, 3 times, listen to a couple angles, really get it in your heart, get it in your spirit, and then take it to the next level, adding the wisdom that you've gained to come up with a few other steps, if need be, that you need to work on. Because I didn't hit on everything, but this is something that could be a 4-hour seminar, so understand that. But these are what I could fit inside of this hour and what kind of came with the natural flow of me doing the work with individuals who are growing in this area. And right now, trying to be, mindful of the time and also careful with my words. Nothing more is coming to my mind. So this is where you take it to the next level in doing the work. And what you develop, you may develop an exercise or work that you could then take and utilize to help others who've lost someone that they loved in an intimate relationship, in whatever capacity the relationship was. But you may be able, if you come to a place in your life as a widow or widower or someone who's lost a loved one, and you have done the work and you get to a place to where you feel good, you feel comfortable, you feel strengthened, strong, motivated, confident, you can take that process that you have gone through and then help others with 1 or 2 of your exercises, if not all of them, if need be. So the other part of this is turning your pain into purpose, not letting the pain and the sorrow or the worry or the regrets cripple you, but to allow it to empower you, to enlighten you, to encourage you, to push you forward and turn that pain into purpose. And while you're helping yourself, or after you've helped yourself, then help others. So, hey, hope this helped you in some kind of way. Just if nothing more than just to get your mind turning and your heart working and the process, going a little deeper. So God bless you. Thank you so much for the questions. And I get the questions out of my YouTube comments, sometimes out of DMs, sometimes out of email. So when people say, how you submit a question, just anywhere, submit it anywhere you could access me. And if I see it and I feel like I can touch on it, I'll do so. God bless you. We'll talk soon.